Hi there, look what's just arrived, the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. This looks an incredible tool that I think is going to help me with my coaching. Let's do an unboxing and let's take a first look. So I can never see where to open these boxes from, so let's have a go. Outer wrapping. Take that off. There we go. Throw that in the bin. Already I've done that. Well, that looks pretty, doesn't it? We have the instruction manuals. Back again. Okay. So we have a nice DJI box. This isn't quite a carrying case. I'd hoped it would have come in its own carrying case, but this actually doesn't. Although at the price, £129, it's actually probably the cheapest 3-axis gimbal around, and certainly a handheld gimbal, and it's got DJI apps to help it work. Now that is the mobile DJI Mobile 2 itself. It's a 3-axis gimbal, as you can see. I'm going to have to charge it. I'm also going to have to learn how to use it. And from there I'm going to test it. But I'm going to particularly test it to see how good it will be in terms of coaching. So if it's a good aid for coaching, I think a lot of coaches out there are going to want one. So the Osmo Mobile 2 is now charged and ready to go, but what kit am I going to use with it and what am I going to do with it? Well, this isn't a review of how to use it, this is a review of how well it works in the things I need it to do, which is help me coach swimming, cycling and running. And the kit I'm going to use is a BlackBerry Priv, which I've used for about, I think, nearly 2 years now, and it does have a nice camera, perhaps not as good as some, but perfectly adequate. It'll film 1080p at 60 frames a second, which is really all I need for my vlogs, etc. You've just seen me put a Rode microphone in there, and if you're going to vlog, I think it's hugely important to have reasonable sound. That gives me good sound without any additional power needs. It also has this dead cat that can go on it. If I'm filming outside, it can actually deaden the wind, so that's hugely important. The last thing I'm going to use is this Manfrotto tripod. Now this tripod screws into the bottom and it acts as three things. Firstly, if I'm going to do any time-lapse photography, dead simple, just set it up and go. It's stable enough to hold that. Secondly, it's an extension that I can hold over swimmers when they're in a particular lane, so I can actually go slightly above the swimmer. And thirdly, it actually acts as a stand where I can leave it if I'm charging the unit, or if I just want to keep it on a desk. That's easy. I can also calibrate it in this, which is quite useful. Alright, if I switch the unit on, the Osmo Mobile, just 1.5 seconds of holding, and that switches it on. It balances up, and you can see it actually works as it is, even with the microphone on. And I think it's really important if you are going to vlog to actually have reasonable sound. So I think that's a really useful addition to this setup. And that's it. That's my setup. That's how I'm going to use it. Let's see how I got on. One of the great things about the Osmo Mobile is its zoom facility, and here I'm looking at the girl on the left because I think she's dropping her elbow. You can see it there. She's recovering her arm, and you can see that her hand, as it passes her shoulder, has overtaken her elbow, which means her hand's moving forward at a great pace. That means she's also coming back into the water and rotating back late, because although that's a perfect position, because she's rotating back late, she then drops the elbow. You can see it starting to drop there, and we end up in that position where, if you look, that is the position of her arm. Now that's creating additional drag at the front. We don't want additional drag because that clearly slows you down in front crawl or any stroke, and you can only see that with the actual zoom feature, which is absolutely superb. So for a coach, or if you want to have a partner to film you, that zoom feature is
absolutely invaluable if you haven't got an underwater camera. Here I'm zooming in to try and see where this swimmer is actually making the catch, and you can see that that catch is coming right there, which means he's really grabbing the water right behind his head. That's a hugely long stroke that he's got there, which is absolutely wonderful. If I slow it down and take it through, you can see his tremendous length of stroke as he sweeps down, up, and then down again. Now he's using paddles at this point, so that's quite hard for him to do, but he's still got an incredibly long stroke, which is what we want in swimming on every single stroke. Now, if a swimmer is close enough to the edge, you can actually get the Osmo Mobile above the swimmer to some extent, depending on the extension you've got, the extension handle you've got. Now, of course, you're not able to see the swimmer at this point because the camera's looking down, but you can still get incredibly good shots. And let's contrast the last swimmer with this swimmer. Now, the last swimmer was grabbing the water well behind his head. But if we look at this swimmer, there's actually a three-part grab. You can see he's grabbed it there, not grabbed it, but grabbed it with his hand. So he's trying to actually grab the water with his hand. So he's holding that bit of the water, but not with his arm. Effectively, we should see this going there and there to actually grab the water that far out. What he's effectively done is dropped his elbow. So he's not catching the water, and he's not anywhere near as powerful as the other swimmer. Again, with the other arm, you can see that elbow starting to drop. So instead of having the elbow high and the catch coming there, we've actually got the reverse of that happening, and that tends to be slipping the water. So this has been incredibly useful to actually show me that from an overhead shot.
So with swimming, I'm getting a fairly acceptable level of service with the Osmo Mobile 2. So let's now go down and take it out for a run on a very cold day with Shelley, my wife, who's not very happy about the weather.
Now here I'm trying to let the camera follow Shelley using the tracker app. And you'll see, she doesn't like this at all, it's very cold. It follows her but goes ahead. It can't quite get her speed, but with everything, as you have more practice, you get better and better. And you can see as we film Shelley here, we're getting better footage. Now with the Priv, we're only getting the chance to film at 108p. We can't film at what we could if we were using the Mavic Pro, 108p at 97 frames a second, which would slow this right down. But if we do slow this down, as Shelley's coming through again, you see we can get useful information about footfall. That's slightly long, I would say, but it's still a mid-foot strike. There we're getting the knee catching up much better form. And you can see we've continued that good form that we had when we were running in cell. But really, Shelley does not like this at all because it's a very cold day. As you can see, she's even got earmuffs on because she doesn't like the cold, and that's why we tend to go somewhere warm to do these things.
Right, now let's just think of ease of use. Well, the Osmo Mobile 2, uses the DJI Go app, whereas the Mavic Pro uses the DJI Go 4 app. Now I don't know if there's a difference between the two, but it does seem the DJI Go 4 app is more advanced. One of the things this won't let me do is access the full features of the camera. Apparently it will do it for the iPhone, and I assume that Mavic, DJI, are going to bring out an updated version of the app, probably as soon as they launch it themselves, because Apple have exclusivity right now, in March. That upgrade hopefully will let you access all of the potential value of your camera that you've got in your phone if you're an Android user. But certainly that's quite disappointing, because if I could access the 60 frames a second that I can get on that phone, then I could have made that running video footage a lot more useful than it actually was. Also, the quality of video is not necessarily as good as it can be. Now, I can use this with my Coach's Eye app, which I use a hell of a lot, and also just with the camera on the phone, the camera app. And I'm going to show you a couple of bits of footage of that so you can compare quality between the current DJI Go app footage and the Coach's Eye and the camera itself. Let's just go to the computer again.
Here's some footage filmed through Coach's Eye, the app, and you can see that the footage is quite crisp. I can see the arm moving to the side before it should, the head lifting, and the body, because of all this excessive movement of the head and the arm moving outside, the body's moving all over the place. So that's quite good quality footage, I would say. And this footage here is being filmed on the camera at 60 frames a second. So you can easily see that this is much better quality again. And this is the type of quality I really would like to get out of the Osmo Mobile 2. And there's really no reason, given that the camera on the phone can do this, why I shouldn't be able to get it.
So I also want to show you something that happens with this gimbal if you're following fast footage. Now, all I'm going to do is rock these from side to side, and you see suddenly this one goes if you have to move it very quickly. Now, all I have to do to center it again is press that twice and it will center, but you'll notice this one hasn't gone at all. The Hohem gimbal is still working, and although it might be very shaky, the actual motor in it seems to be more powerful than the Osmo Mobile 2. That, I think, is a fault. I don't know if it's a faulty piece of kit I've got, or if it naturally does that because the motors in it actually aren't as strong as they perhaps should be. Now, given that I already have a 3-axis gimbal, it takes a lot for me to buy another 3-axis gimbal. And what attracted me to this is DJI's applications that they have that are actually so damn good. I think they do everything so well, and I couldn't be happier with the Mavic Pro. And when I was looking around, I was looking actually at the DJI Osmo Plus, which has its own Zenmuse camera, and therefore links into it like it would for the Mavic Pro. This links into my camera, and although I'm very happy with what my camera can do on my phone, this doesn't access its full potential, and I think that's an error. That, together with this problem that I'm having with the motor, means that this particular one is actually going to go back to Apple because I'm going to return it. I think it's either faulty or it isn't quite good enough yet to actually replace this, which is what I wanted it to do. So this one, packed up, and the next couple of days we'll just be heading back to Apple. Unfortunate, but I will be buying another one, and hopefully that will have the updated app and it won't have the fault with the motor, and I'll report to you on that in due course. Okay, hopefully that's helped you if you're thinking of buying a 3-axis gimbal. Well, that's all for this week. Remember to subscribe to the channel with the red button below, and like if you liked this video. Thanks very much indeed for watching. Enjoy your training, enjoy your racing. I'll see you next week.